welcome to the Vocal Dental Nurses with your hosts, Kate and Shelly, joined for this episode by the fantastic Rhian.
Quiet. Hello, good evening, everybody. You will see we have 3 members of this panel this evening. And the aim of our webinar really is to give dental nurses a voice. Is that right, ladies?
Absolutely.
Definitely.
Good. You will see we have the lovely Shelly. Hi, Shelly. From Bewdley. And we have the lovely Rhian from Newtown. Hello, Rhi.
Hello.
That was like really official, Rhian. We have Rhian.
You have to call me Rhian, it's fine.
Ladies, thank you so much for joining us this evening. We really are just going to have a general chit chat. We've all just had a little chat off air, and I think we're all on the same hymn sheet when I say that dental nurses don't really have a platform or a voice. So we're hoping over the weeks and months to invite more people onto the panel and just chew the fat really about the daily issues that dental nurses face, the pay, what would make a person go into dental nursing, things like that. So, Rhi, can we start with you? Because now I obviously know where you work, I know what you do. Share it with us, Rhi, and don't be shy.
Thank you, Kate, for having me this evening. So I feel incredibly privileged. So what I do, so I have been in dentistry for almost 20 years. So it's 20, but I think it's 20 years this year. So yeah, it's gone so fast. So over the period of time, so I've done so much, but where I am now, I work for one of the largest corporates, so I think the largest corporate dentistry. Am I allowed to say who I work for?
Yes, please do. Please do.
So I work for IDH. So I work for my dentist. I work at an advanced oral health centre. So basically, pretty much like a referral hub as practices go. So anything within dentistry kind of happens under our roof. So a lot of our patients are referrals from other practices and patients who self-refer and social media and things like that. So we're lots of implants, which, you know, there's an amazing guy called Carl Horton.
Oh yeah, I think I've heard of him.
I don't know if
we'll pay you after.
I'm not sure if any of you have ever heard of him, but anyway, so we do implants is a big part of what we do at Newtown. We've got short-term ortho, everything cosmetic. So the only thing we don't really do is sedation yet. We'd like to say. So that's kind of us as a practice, as a family. And so what my role, I am a qualified dental nurse, I'm radiography trained, oral health educator, fluoride application, impressions, and all of that additional skills. But my role at Newtown, I'm the treatment coordinator. So I don't really work chairside anymore with any dentists unless it's covering or there's a particular case that requires me to kind of journey one-on-one with that patient, and it just kind of is appropriate for me to be chairside for those appointments for that particular patient. But as a rule, I'm not chairside anymore. Occasionally Carl lets me in and lets me drop some clean bits and bobs, which is so yeah, not chairside anymore. So treatment coordinating is, if not everybody really knows what that is, quite a lot of practices have them now in practice, which I think they're an absolute fantastic tool and asset to have in the practice for patient journey, more so, but then also when it comes to practice. So, you know, you relieve that pressure from the clinicians, we relieve pressure from the nurses as well. So I feel like I'm kind of in between and kind of almost like the glue that kind of pulls all the different pieces together, especially in such a big practice where there's so many different things happening. As a treatment coordinator, you have to know a bit of everything, and I kind of like to think maybe I pull things together, so connect the patients with the right clinicians, because that's really important. Ensuring the clinicians have got everything that they need to do what they love and to do what they're passionate about, and to see the patients they want to see, to be doing the treatments and delivering the treatment that they're passionate about, to have the end of that treatment with those patients and it's an emotional journey for patients to embark on big treatment plans. So I like to think I try and make that all a bit smoother for everybody that's involved, and that goes for the nurse, for the reception team, for the clinician, and obviously most importantly the patient as well. So that's kind of what I do as treatment coordinator, even though I'm a nurse. My role at Newtown is nursing.
So, Rhi, I've over the years of me working with different practices, Shelly, I don't know if you've come across this, especially coming from a TCO background myself. I've known people that have not been a dental nurse and have gone into TCO work. What are your two's views about not having a nursing background? Now, they could be within the dental field quite clearly, so they could be on reception, but they're not a qualified nurse. What are your thoughts?
I think, Rhi, if you take that first, because you'll have seen, yourself, the benefits that previously being a dental nurse has had for you now that you're a TCO. So if you want to go with that.
Thanks, Shelley. There's definite merit in both. For example, having a clinical background, being a qualified nurse really opens up and relieving a lot of pressure for the clinicians. So, for example, we're a digital practice. So we do triage scanning. So all of our, for example, short-term ortho cases and treatment planning is all done digitally. So we don't really take impressions. We can do treatment simulations and smile design and all things like that. And as a clinical TCO, so a TCO who's got a dental nursing background, if they've got that competency or that extra certificate, that additional skill to do, whether it's impressions or whatever it is, I can take that pressure off the implantologist. I can do a bit more of it, instead of just having a consultation, a pre-consultation with the patient and it's all talking and showing pictures and models. I can actually go a bit further. And for example, when it comes to the implantologist with Carl, for him, if he's got a digital scan up front, if he's got clinical photographs, if he's got a really detailed referral medical history and that rapport's already built with me, I can kind of just really hand that over to Carl or Neil or whoever the clinician is. So they are one step ahead before they've even met the patient. And I think that's where being clinical or having a clinical background really adds value. However, having more of a non-clinical background also has a lot of merit and adds a lot of value to the practice. For example, I'm rubbish at admin.
Okay.
I'm people, not paperwork. So I can do paperwork. I can do all the social media. I can do all the commercial stuff, but it takes a lot more of me to do that. Whereas maybe more of a commercial TCO would probably just whiz through all things like that. So there's merit in both. But what the most important thing is, if you love people, if you love people and you're passionate about building up rapport, it doesn't actually matter whether you're clinical or non-clinical. Personally, I would always, if I was a manager employing a TCO, I would 100% go clinical every time.
Yeah, I can understand that. I can understand that. With the nurses, I mean, I'm sure we've all worked with fantastic nurses in our dental journey, the three of us, and each one of them have their own merits. They have their pros and they have their cons, much like you've just said, Rhi, actually. One will have a strength, one would have a weakness. The organisation skills could be great, but the communication skills might not be as good. Now, I'm sure you agree with me, those really would need to be married together to be a good dental nurse, if you like. With dental nursing, can you guys remember your first day when you just decided that you were going to go into dentistry? Oh, Rhi can. Look at Rhi's face.
Go on, Shelly, you go.
Can you remember, Shelly?
I can actually. So it was think it was the 21st of April 2004.
Oh my gosh.
And I'd gone for the interview the previous evening, and she'd offered me the job there and then. So I had to start the next day. I was like, oh, I'd just done A-levels, so I was sort of, bobbing around. Mum's like, you need to get a job. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? So I saw trainee dental nurse advertised, and it's always something that I used to work as a cleaner when I was doing my GCSEs at school, and I used to clean a dental practice. So I sort of, used to see the girls come in and all the rest of it. So I thought, trainee dental nurse, I'll go and try it while I figure out what I want to do long term. How many years later?
Yeah, you've never looked back.
My first day, I got picked up by the boss at the time, and I spent the day in surgery with her and her nurse and just observed for the day. And I just remember thinking, I'm never going to get this. I'm never going to get this. And it's just, you do though, don't you? It's just so much to take in those first few months. But
100%. Do you remember when you first listened to charting? I can. And I got one of the brown inserts for the NHS cards. And I can remember sitting there, and I got Mr. Wickers, the dentist at the time, to go through every surface of the tooth. And whether it was an amalgam composite, whether it was a crown, whether it was a bridge. And I wrote it down, and I'll tell you what, that one piece of paper or card was my Bible. And I folded it up and I put it in my nursing tunic pocket, and it was my Bible. And I tell you what, by the end of the week, I knew everyone on there. Yeah. I knew everyone.
These girls now on the computer, they've got it too easy. I used to love drawing especially like MOs and your DOs and your funky little. I used to love that. And that's a skill lost, isn't it? Really, because it's all computerized. Like, you still have to know obviously where they are, but when they're sort of upper right A MOD, and you're like, it's
And obviously, if you're like me, I didn't like to go outside the lines. So when I was colouring in my MOD, I mean, we're talking Monica here.
Yeah, I can imagine.
But you know what, ladies, I mean, we know the importance of dental nurses within the dental practice. I mean, it's just a given. Without them, the dentist can't work. They're not only clinically needed, they're there for chaperoning, as you know, and, perhaps we'll talk about that another time. But one of the biggest things that nurses always talk to me about, or when we're in different practices, because as you know, we move about, I hear conversations, is their pay. Dental nurses' pay. Yeah. Why? And I mean, it's not a question as such, I'm just putting a statement out there. Why are so many dental nurses, not all, but why are so many dental nurses underpaid? I mean, what they have to do is incredibly important within dentistry. Yeah, it's just a shame to hear some of their wages. Honestly,
yeah,
it really, really is. You girls know what you have to do on a daily basis,
and especially these days with all the extra, the CPD that has to be done, the annual retention fee that has to be paid, the indemnity that has to be paid. Yeah. I was always told back in 2006 when I sat my exam, it was sort of that time we were coming into having to join the GDC register, and I remember some of the older ladies saying to me, but it's going to do us as a profession, it's going to take us up, the money's going to go. It hasn't happened. It's
no.
And the thing is that the dentists, not all the dentists, but if they can get away with not paying us £15 an hour, why would they?
Yes.
They've got a business to run. So it's, if they can have one of us walk out and get someone else in for £9 an hour, then
I know
that's what they're going to do. Most of them.
Yeah, and that's what I mean. It's not a sweeping statement out there, because I know some fantastic principals and dentists out there that really, really do value their nurses, you know, and so they should, quite clearly, and other members of the team. I'm definitely not excluding those, but as you guys know, we're so predominantly talking about dental nurses here. Within the corporate field, and, please feel free to say next. But I mean, are
brace yourself.
Are dental nurses supported? I appreciate you say that you're not chairside now, so I appreciate that. But would you say they're supported within a corporate field? So I'm not on about money particularly, but supported.
Yeah, supported, yes. I don't know about the other corporates at all, but when it comes to my dentist is the only corporate I've worked for. All the others are independent practices. But yes, do you know what? Our annual retention fee is paid. Our CPD is all covered. So we have the academy with my dentist. I don't know if other corporates have it as well, but we have the academy, and it's tailored for whatever role you're in. So dental nurses, for example, everything you ever need, you don't have to go on it. You can if you want to, but you don't have to go on any external courses. You don't have to source your own CPD. So there's verifiable, non-verifiable on there. Like I said, the ARF is paid. Everything's there. And there's a dental nurses kind of forum that nurses there's someone to go to if you've got an issue. Even within, so when it comes to like head office type thing, but there's also within the areas that we're based. So for me, I'm in North Wales area. There's a champion of dental nurses for the area. So if you've got any issues, there's someone to go to. And so supported, yes. Do you know what? The independent practices that I've worked for in the past, and I may have got paid more per hour in independent practices in the past as a dental nurse, but I had to pay my ARF, I had to find all my own CPD, pay for my CPD, take annual leave to go on CPD courses where, do you know what, being for my dentist, that stress and that worry is just gone.
And that's a big part of it, isn't it? That's such a big part of it now. You know, those things have to be done. So if, like you're saying, you get help with that, that's, you know, that's a massive plus, isn't it?
Yeah, and our indemnity, we get indemnity covered as well. If you've got additional skills,
ice cream man outside.
So our indemnity is covered as well. Sorry, I should have said that, as well as the ARF. So we're covered, and even with me who's got additional skills, it's covered as well. I mean, my dentists really support the BADN as well, so the British Association for Dental Nurses, which has been around since, I think, like 1945 or something like that. And so my dentists have got a really good relationship with the BADN, and so we're looking at doing more with them to then support dental nurses even more. So that's kind of going on at the minute behind the background, and that's something that I'm heavily involved with too. I sit on the council for that. So it's nice, like I said, I've never worked for any other corporates, but it's nice that there's others, they're always looking. Yes, it might not be always reflected in our pay, but actually the support is there.
Yeah.
Which it has a value itself. Yeah. Let's be honest, even if it's not financially, although part of it is because they're paying for certain elements, but that has a massive value for you, doesn't it? You know, of working there. Why do you guys think that, you know, some individuals don't know if I want to say value the nurses as much, but let's say they don't pay their nurses as much? Do you think it is something just as simple as because they can? I mean, the skills that nurses have to do their job, you know, we know what they're accountable for. So, I mean, I wonder why they're not paid very well. I mean, a good dental nurse worth their weight in gold.
Yeah, I do think the biggest reason is because if they can get away with it, they don't have to. And I don't know. I always remember this one time, going back many years. I was asked by the dentist I used to nurse with to retract using a mouth mirror, which is perfect. I still do it now. Got your suction in one hand. I remember doing it with another dentist in the practice, and all hell broke loose. I had to study dentistry for 5 years until I could hold a mouth mirror. Oh. You shouldn't be picking up a mouth mirror. Okay. So I don't know if that comes into it sometimes, you know, There's a hierarchy. You stay down there.
Yeah. Do you know what? It is a shame, actually, Shelley. And I think you probably hit a nail on the head, because I've certainly experienced that myself. And I've certainly do, unfortunately, still see it only every now and again.
Yeah.
And it's a shame that those individuals as nurses don't have the confidence just to believe in their ability, because you know, yes, you can pick that up, and yes, you can do that. Why are they doing it and picking that up? Are they doing it to be awkward? No. Or are they doing it to help clear the view for the dentist? It's difficult, really difficult. I mean, we could probably sit here all night saying about issues, or the most common issues that dental nurses do encounter daily. Now I'm on about. What would you guys say the top 3 issues are? Not particularly that you experience, but as a dental nursing group, what would you say the top 3, if you were to pick 3? Would you say the sort of,
I don't know, probably the top one for the girls in my practice would be time. There's not enough hours in the day. We, you know, we're such a busy practice. I think for us it would be a time thing.
So do you mean like turnaround time, Shelley, for example, between one patient to the next, COVID aside, obviously?
COVID aside, yeah, forget all that. Just, I mean, we tend to have a lot of, because there's 12 dental nurses in my place. A lot of us are part-time, so you've always got someone on holiday. This week we've had to send girls over to one of the principals' other practices. So it's things like the girls at our place, we make all the bite guards and retainers and that. So they're sat not getting done. So then people are getting anxious that they can't get in to do those because they need to nurse with the dentist. And we're just so busy. And I just think time for us is one of the daily struggles that we have.
Yeah, I 100% agree with that as well. I mean, when it comes to like doing the extra bits like study models and retainers and stuff, but then even scaling it right back to keeping on top of the Legionella checks and the fire drills and keeping the sterilization room, everything's, all your boxes are ticked, all your tests are done, your weekly, your monthly logs, all of that. Because, you know, if you're working in a practice and you've got patients booked in from 8:30 till 5, but your hours as a nurse is 8:15 till 5:15, that 15 minutes either end of the day is your switching on, cleaning, and then at the end of the day, switching everything down. So all of that testing, which takes time, all the all the foil tests for your the baths, which they take like a morning to do, and all of those things, it takes time, and you can't do it in between patients. And if you've got a practice with 12 dentists with nurses who and when they're doing it in their lunch hours, they're staying and you know, they don't get the recognition for that. Not that it's all about recognition, but it's definitely not appreciated. The dentists are clueless because they leave at 5:10 and they're still there. Gone. They're still there. I can't remember the last time. The girls I work with are amazing. I cannot remember the last time there was a full lunch break for everybody, or that everybody left on time. We've got one nurse who comes in early every day because not that she's asked to, she chooses to because she knows the pressure's off a bit. Do you know what I mean? So she chooses to turn up early every day because she knows that she will get everything done because she doesn't have time later. Now, that's not right. That's amazing that she has that ethic, that passion for the job, but that's above and beyond her pay grade to do that. We should, or dental nurses should, have that time allowance, but dentists don't see that as a priority. Their priority is revenue, because most of them are self-employed, so it's the patients, it's revenue, that's their priority, and so it should be. That is their business, but it's just like you were saying, Shelly, it's the time to do the extra bits that might not seem important, but we will get shut down if we haven't got those laws in place to date. So
absolutely.
The health inspections, all the audits happening. If we have a spot check, you know, a practice could be closed down because a Legionella wasn't done because the nurses don't have time. So time is a big. I'll 100% agree with Shelly. Time, more time.
And you know what? I mean, what is fantastic, what you two have said and not said, all of those things you guys have just said, I'm with you. You know, I see it when I go around, they're filling a login, they're doing that, and it has someone done that for the decon log and the test, and they've still got a nurse as well.
Yeah.
So that isn't, as you've said, time-wise, that is in between setting up, clearing down, making sure the notes are done for the clinician, making sure this, checking a medical history, and that is on top of your daily routine chairside work. And I mean, for goodness sake, we've all been in dentistry quite a few years. Just saying those things, even I'm thinking, how do they do it? Seriously, how do they do it?
I said this to you, Kate, a few weeks ago when you were last in, and we were having a chat about it. And I remember saying to you, as a dental nurse, you've got to want to do the job, because you sure as hell don't do it for the money.
No.
You are run ragged from the minute you enter that building to the minute you've got to want to do it, and you've got to come away thinking, you know, as busy as it's been, I've had a good day today.
Yeah.
Because
and
that's the realness of it. It's just crazy. Just doesn't stop.
It certainly is. I agree 100% with you, Shelley, and it doesn't always stop when you get home, especially if you're a head nurse and you're getting those phone calls with so-and-so's not coming in, and you know, your day doesn't stop there, does it? And I know for a fact that you two, and when I say take your work home, I mean that I credit to you both. You don't have the personalities that you're just going to shut off and that's it. I know you're both at the beck and call of your team, and you know, you'll do anything you can to help them. So it doesn't just stop when you leave the practice, does it? It really doesn't. And you're right, you've got to love that job. You have got to love it, because not every dental nurse is appreciated. And I will put it out there, for the amount of practices that Carl and I travel around in, I have got to say, and it's so lovely to see, that virtually all of them have very supportive clinicians. Yeah. And it is a joy to see. It is. I mean, Shelly, as you know, we did a podcast with Jag last week, and I mean, he loves the bones of his team, and that's very clear. Ben's the same with Malvern, and obviously with Bewdley, and it is lovely to see. It really is.
And we know that we've landed lucky with those guys, and I try and instill in the girls that we employ as trainees, as someone that's done it for a long time and worked with different dentists, worked with different employers, you won't find better. No. So, you know, it's difficult.
We were talking about that. It is very difficult. Do you know what, Rhi? Ben, who you've just heard us talk about, and you've probably seen on some of our other webinars, he every Friday he doesn't work with you on a Friday, does he?
No.
Shelley.
No,
so it's not
Malvern, I think, Fridays.
Yeah. Every Friday he buys a takeaway for his team. Every Friday. But do you know what? The way he said it, it wasn't for us to
it's
go,
not for
oh my goodness.
No.
You are so right, because as it came out, he said something, and we just went, what? Oh, yeah, every Friday, it's the least I can do. And I thought, oh, my goodness. I mean, I must admit, I was extremely lucky in my nursing days. I mean, when I was younger, it was very, very different then anyway. But as I grew in confidence, I worked with some fantastic clinicians, and they were so lovely. They really were, and supportive. So supportive. And that itself is worth millions and trillions of pounds. Yeah. And he used to buy me sushi. So, I mean, for goodness sake, right?
Winner. Yeah.
Winner. Do you know what? What I think as well is nurses should be paid. Maybe I won't call it danger money. And I'm sure you two, if you do sort of live and work in the same town as your practice is. I was in a local supermarket many years ago. Somebody came up to me. I was in the bread aisle and took their denture out and tried to give it to me because it needed repairing. No. And you know, when you think, I must admit, I can remember standing there thinking, I'm not paid enough for this.
No. It's bad enough when they do that at the reception desk, let alone when you're out doing your food shop.
100%. Let alone everybody else that's staring at you thinking, what are they doing? I'm mortified.
Did you off them, or what did you do with it?
I told them to put it back in their mouth, and I gave them the number of a local lab in Tenbury, but I was mortified. I think I even forgot my bread.
I bet. Yeah.
But with nurses, guys, I mean, Rhi, you've just said about some of the additional qualifications you've taken. I mean, when you become a qualified dental nurse, I mean, it does open the doors to so many more things now. I mean, when, you know, many years ago, when you qualified as a dental nurse, you qualified as a dental nurse. That's it. But there's so many more things you can do now, ladies, isn't there?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's not a job, like what we were just saying a few minutes ago. It's not a job. It is, for me anyway, it's my career, and it's something I'm really passionate about. And you, as dental nurses, you do it for the love of the patient care journey and everything else, but the progression within it as well. So, you know, quite often you see dental nurses, you know, qualified, they work as a dental nurse, and then eventually they might be a practice manager. And that's a really great career ladder or career journey to be on. But again, don't like paperwork. So practice manager would be something
not for you.
But within dental nursing, there is so much scope, and the GDC said that you've got the scope of practice, and they, as you know, you've got the qualification for it, or the competency to be able to do it and signed off by the dentist. But it's just, the possibilities are endless. Like, even if it's not additional skills, there's other things you can get involved in with having you know, the standard dental nurse qualification. Even if you've only got that, there's stuff that you can do without doing additional skills. So, for example, like charity work and stuff. So you've got Crisis at Christmas, and down in the big cities, they just run a dental clinic for homeless people. You know, that's an incredible experience, and you don't need any additional skills to do anything like that. But what a thing to put on your CV, the experience to have. It's just, and the feeling to be able to just give something back and appreciated. Like, you're not just doing veneers, and you're not just doing whitening. You're actually making something really changing. Like, in that moment, I went in 2007. I went to Uganda, and we were there for about 4 weeks, and I worked as a dental nurse. I'd only been a dental nurse maybe 4 or 5 years, and I absolutely loved it. And it was from that did I then realise that there was so much more available, because I was exposed to a whole different group of people whilst I was there, as in like other clinicians and other nurses. And I was like, didn't realise I could qualify and do X, Y, and Z. It would just that opened my eyes to dent, because at the time I was working in a completely private practice. We didn't have any, even the kids were private in the practice. So for me, that was a massive eye opener. Like, wow, there are dentists, there's such needy people, and that was just in Uganda. So goodness knows what it's like over here. So it absolutely changed the way I looked at my career, at dentistry as a whole. I got involved in so much more by being exposed to that. But yeah, additional skills, oh my goodness, it's just, if you've got the support from the clinicians, and you've got, and you're in the right, and the practice managers as well, and the rest of the nurses around you, if you've got the support and the drive to do it, then the possibilities are endless. But the problem comes when, and I've worked in an independent practice, and I had radiography, and I had my oral health education and fluoride application, all of those things, and I worked in a practice and it was independent, but the dentist didn't let me do anything. I'm like, you know, your time is more expensive than mine. You pay me where you pay me. I can do your fluoride application, and you can you know, do you not understand? If you refer your patient to me, I can save money. And
absolutely.
It's more a control thing.
Yes. Yeah, it's letting go,
potentially. Potentially.
The old school mentality. I'm the dentist. I'm the clinician. I've done 6 years in uni for this. What have you done?
Yeah.
But then you get the opposite end of the scale, like someone like Carl, someone like Ben, someone like Neil Simpkin, and they are. Do you know what? If you can do it and you're passionate about it,
go with it.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's what we need more of. So I'm hoping new dentists that are coming through dental school now, you know, that mentality is going to increase. So I hope
100%.
Anyway.
100%. Well, if you think about it, girls, exactly what we've been saying, and I honestly, I've said it all my career. Dental nurses are worth the weight in gold. They are, because look what we've just said that they do. So, you know, they not only do they do their daily chairside work with the dentist. I mean, that's a fraction of it. But if you're a practice owner, a really good dental nurse will save you money for all of those reasons you've just said. So for a principal, you'd be happy to have a fantastic dental nurse. As the clinician that you're working with, a good relationship, good teamwork, it's effortless. So therefore you have a happy and a very productive clinician because you've got a very on the ball and very good nurse. And as a team player, as a good nurse, you've got, you know, Shelly, I always bring it back to you in your role as a head nurse within your practice. Look what happens in your practice because of how you work and how you lead. You have a happy team. So that one individual has done all of that for the practice. Principals, the clinicians, a happy team. One nurse does all of that. And I'll say it again. Why are they not paid accordingly? Do you know what I mean? We could stay here all night, ladies.
We could go on and on and on. Can I just say that I know Jag, my principal, touched on this when he was last on with you and Carl Kate last week. He has just had the shock of his life. We advertised for a qualified possible trainee dental nurse, and a girl came along, lovely girl. She's only been qualified for 3 months, and she was on £12 an hour. And his jaw just hit the floor. So that was it. Next day, he called them all in one by one, pay rise, pay rise, pay rise, pay rise. And I think it's because so many people, especially after COVID now, all the restrictions, all the extra PPE, the extra cleaning, which is what we do all day long anyway, but it's more and more and more. Why would you stay and wear all that gear and work like a dog when you could go to a supermarket and be paid exactly the same? And I think 100%. He did have a real shock, and he sort of said to me, I've come to realise if I want to keep the girls that I've got now, which he does because he worships every single one of them, I need to reflect that in their pay. And I was like, you won't get any argument from me. I'm all for it.
They are, Jack, that's for you.
Up and up and up. So,
I agree with you. And do you know what a fantastic chap for doing so.
Yeah,
Shelly. I mean, he is a lovely chap, and I mean, in some respects, I suppose we are a bit biased. But Rhian, you've heard us talk about him. I mean, he is fantastic, and so's Ben, and so are so many more people out there as well that we all work with. And I'm sure over the times we will come to mention them. But fair play to him for doing that, because exactly what you said at the beginning of this webinar is some people carry on paying the same wage. One, because they can, and to be honest, two, because they just don't realise. I don't think there's any malice in some of it. It's routine. Yeah. It's routine. And if you're not going to mention to me that you're not happy with your wage, well, I'll carry on paying you £9 or do you know what I mean? So it's not always done out of a lack of respect or understanding. I think it's just people don't think sometimes, and it's a shame. It is a shame. It's a shame.
It is a shame, but I do know that the British Association of Dental Nurses, this is something that they've really fought over, but they can't enforce dentists to pay more, but it's something they've really fought for a long time. And finally, they're in talks with a few of the big corporate dental corporates, dental corporates, in being able to get a feel for what the pay is and the pay structures, and to be able to put a national kind of base through, so you can't get paid below it. And that is just like the NHS, like the banding system type thing. So there is stuff happening in the background, but these things take time.
Yeah.
It's hard, but Yeah, some dentists do pay really well and some don't. But it's that kind of thing. If you have a trainee nurse and they're trained and they pass their exams and everything else, and a practice puts an advert in the paper and they're paying more, well, I'm like, well, they're qualified. So what's stopping me from going there? And like community, like NHS dental nurses, so NHS employed dental nurses, because it's in the bands. They get paid, what, £13-14 an hour? And they haven't got any additional skills.
Yeah.
No.
And I'm not saying they shouldn't get paid that.
No.
But it's that, it does pop a bit. But
Yes.
I love the practice I work in. I love the job that I do. And it isn't always about money.
The money, absolutely. Yeah.
Well, as Shelley said, I think a large proportion of people wouldn't be doing it because you're not doing it for the money, a lot of people. So it is for the love. I mean, it is
definitely
for the love. And I mean, you two particularly, out of all the practices that we work in, and I've said this to you before off webinars, so you'll know exactly what I'm on about. You two are very, very, very well respected in your practice, and you earn that. Girls, you know, you're very, very, very well liked. I mean, there's not many times that I'm not in Newtown particularly, and I've got Miss Boyd saying, oh yeah, well, Rhi did that, and blah blah blah. Rhi Pounds has done that, and pounds, Rhi. And it's the same with you, Shelley. I mean, you nurse with us a lot of the time, and I see you're there, and the patient there. You sent somebody else comes in, and you two work very, very well. I mean, I've been in dentistry 30 years now, and I think probably on my hand I could count the very, very good nurses. And you both are very, very well respected in your team. So well done. Credit to you both.
Thank you, Kate. That's a lovely thing to say.
No, you've earned it, and I've seen it. You know, I mean, it's lovely. I wish, do you know what? I think that's what people need to see. You know, like that fly on the wall thing when they don't know that you're there. So when I hear, like I said, your team talk about you, Rhi, and Shelley, I see that's what I need to do is, or people do, is get that and give that to, you know, your boss, Rhi, and, you know, your boss, Shelly, and say, there you are, look, this is what you don't see, because it's different when you're about. It is.
I tell him, don't worry about that.
Oh, I know. I have no doubt. I have absolutely no doubt you tell him. And then she comes in like with trays of teas and coffee. That's how you and I first met, Shelley. You came in with a tray with everybody's tea on, and you looked up and said, would you like a tea or coffee? I thought, you and I, we're going to get on, kids. I don't know if that was before or after you gave me chocolate. I'm not sure. Sugar free.
I know a way to a girl's heart, Kate. What can I say?
Hey, come on.
What can I say?
I often bear gifts of dime bars.
You certainly do. You certainly do, yes.
They don't get as
like
far
your
as you,
visits.
Rhi. In fact, I did manage to get to you the one time, because normally Sarah and I will scoff them. But I actually put two in my pocket. I went and found Rhi, and I had one for Sophie, I think. So I did manage to get one to you.
Like a butterscotch or a lemon sherbet or something. We're like, I do this all day for you. So it was perfect.
Oh, bless you, Kate.
Why not a bit of sugar? It doesn't hurt sometimes. Just make sure you clean it properly after. Right, ladies, on that note, I mean, I would talk to you guys all night. I really, really would. I want to say a personal thank you to you both, because I know that you've both been working today, and I know that you're going to be working tomorrow, and I know you've got your family to look after tonight. Both of you, thank you very, very much.
You're welcome.
Rhi, honestly, a massive thank you. Shelley has got the unfortunate job of staying on this panel when we go through this journey on these webinars. Unlucky, Shelley.
Right. I'll cope.
You'll cope. Rhi, please don't be a stranger. You know how I feel. I'd really, really love it. And I know I said to you, Shelley, didn't I, that I think you'll be thinking the same. Please join us again. Please.
I would love to anytime. So thank you for having me. It's really great to meet you, Shelley, as well.
Yes, and you.
We'll meet in person. Who knows?
That'd be lovely.
Yes.
That'd be lovely.
My goodness. You know what? We've
really
even
nice.
given up on saying things like that now, haven't we? Because we've become so accustomed of doing this that we realise we can actually potentially meet.
Wouldn't that be marvellous?
At some point. So no, thank you very much. And I'm happy to jump on another time. And yeah,
fantastic.
Great.
Well, we're out there to support the dental nurses, the whole dental team, but we're gonna try and get some voices for dental nurses. So anybody, if you want to join in, please don't hesitate to get in contact with us, kate@hortonimplants.com, or you'll find my number on our website. Please get in touch. Let's hear your voices. Ladies, have a lovely evening.
And you, lovely. Bye, Rhian. Nice to meet you.
Take care, guys.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.